right, and welcome back to DeathStryke Media's Force Friday show. It's Friday. We're talking Star Wars. I am joined by the full panel today. Down at the very far side, we have James Armstrong.
Good evening.
And right smack in the middle, we've got Sean Sharp. And I will close out the end. My name is James Waddington. Well, how was your guys' week? How was your week? We'll start down there with you.
Oh, doing fine. Just work and paying off the work on my car, which is a recurring theme. So, just getting that adult stuff out of the way.
That's good. How about you, Sean?
I got to do an impromptu movie.
Didn't start out with a catchphrase.
No, but
womp, womp. Yes, impromptu movies. Yes, we'll talk about that in just a second.
No, but I am doing better than I deserve.
There it is.
Movie
There it
actually
is.
proves that. I got to go see a movie for free.
Yes.
Although I bought, I think it was an $8.25 thing of popcorn. So it was really good popcorn.
They got to make their money.
No, that's why I bought it. I wasn't going to not buy something when I went to.
Do you have butter or no butter?
No butter.
Oh, okay.
That's how you're supposed to have popcorn.
Yeah. With butter.
Okay.
With real butter.
What about you?
You know what? Well, I was preparing the show notes, and I've had actually a pretty decent week. Coming up with new ideas for new shows. Kind of figuring out how I'm gonna do some future layout stuff and some stuff like that. It's been actually pretty fun. Brainstorming.
Yeah.
We have some brainstorming stuff too. We've done at the house, so
Yeah.
we've got some schemes coming. People, schemes.
Yeah, we're doing so much brainstorming. We actually conjured a real storm today.
That's right. It was raining and mad dog crazy a second ago, but it looks like it stopped as per usual in Texas. Well, like we mentioned a second ago, Sean went to go see a movie for a press release for I believe it was King Arthur and the what's the full title of the thing?
King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword.
Yeah.
So we actually finally got to do our first press screening for a movie. Sean Sharp was kind enough to go out there and do that, and he actually wrote up a review, and it's actually on our Facebook page now. If you're gonna
Check it out.
go check it out. Like, comment, dislike it, whatever you want to do to it, but it's there.
Tell me if I'm an idiot. Tell me if you agree with me.
Or whatever.
Or whatever. Yeah. I'm a big
It was
guy.
very well done.
Yeah. All right, so let's kind of start this show. If it's your first time here, what we do is we have a couple of Star Wars stories, and we simply just run them down and talk about them. However, we had some new stuff drop today, of course, after I made the show notes,
After
of course.
you do the notes, of course, yes.
What came out today was some Han Solo news. We had some stuff drop, weirdly enough, on eBay that kind of came up. So we had some sketch of Han Solo's costume, what appears to be his costume for the Han Solo movie, even though it kind of looks like what we saw Han Solo wear in the cantina back on Tatooine. And then we've got some really cool ship design that we have never seen before, and I know that Star Wars is liked to do that right now, making new stuff that we haven't seen. Looks like we got a cool sky bridge. What'd you think?
I again am surprised that new concept designs are popping up on eBay. We were talking about that before the show, and somebody is so fired.
Yeah, who's fired? Who's fired right now?
Yeah, everybody's fired.
But I like that the Empire is going to have a big presence in this Han Solo movie. Like after we looked at the designs, I feel like Han Solo's going to have to do some sneaking around.
The prime area of right when the Empire was really getting big.
Yeah, and it reminded me of the line from A New Hope where Obi-Wan and Luke are trying to buy passage on the Falcon. And Obi-Wan says, "We'd just like to avoid any Imperial entanglements." And you have Han saying, "Well, that's the real trick, isn't it?"
Exactly.
So I want to see what kind of tricks he can employ for this solo movie of his.
How about you, Sean?
I guess two things. One, I like the ship design, but to me it looked like a rather interesting way to do a troop transport, like rapid deployment transport. As for the design of the young Han Solo outfit, I kind of have a feeling like he pulls open his closet and it's all the exact things for the past 30 years.
It's funny. There was a cartoon I watched. I don't know if you remember the cartoon Doug that was on Nickelodeon.
Oh, yeah, Doug.
So they did an episode about how he always wears the same thing every day because there's a star, like a child star that was on TV that the whole school fell in love with in that Doug universe. But he dressed exactly how the main character Doug does, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're just dressing after this character," and it's like, "No, come to my closet, and it's all the exact same outfits."
Clothes, yeah.
Funny you brought that up.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you have a classic look and you really rock it,
you need to stay with it.
We'll just stay with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
I would say, as a brief aside, a coworker showed me this T-shirt for sale the other day, which is a fan shirt for the Beats, which is the fictional band from Doug.
Oh, that's right.
And it looks awesome.
That's actually very clever.
Very meta.
Yeah, exactly. Getting right back into this real fast with the troop transport, it kind of really looked like an inner atmosphere transport because it looked like it had like a sky bridge.
Yeah, with no protection, no atmospheric protection.
That's Star Wars for you. They don't put handrails on anything, especially in atmosphere stuff. So
Might be where
they're all Europeans. Yeah.
that's right.
Might be where Lando learns where to work in the clouds.
Maybe so. Maybe maybe a Bespin sort of transport ship or something. It that's a good point. It very much reminded me of a Bespin transporter stuff.
That does. It does have that kind of feel. Of course, they may have looked back at older designs and what we can merge.
Ralph
this.
McQuarrie designed or something like that.
Try to bring it into the modern thing. But it's also the fact that maybe just down to the brass tacks of they're clones.
Well,
They're replaceable.
Stormtroopers weren't necessarily clones.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They're troops. They're
At that
replaceable.
point, there were very few clones, but they still had them. They were still around. Yeah. Anyway, let's actually get into the actual stories that we actually had the notes for to begin the day. And I believe that first story is we have some. Let's take a look here. I can't read that far away. It's gonna have some spoilery stuff to it, so you'll see a spoilery thing up here. This story comes from us over our friends at StarWarsNewsNet.com. We actually do get our first look at the Han Solo anthology movie with some new stills that came out. They're kind of aerial shots. They kind of look like they came from like a drone or a flyby in an aircraft, something like that. Older like photographs because it was a little blurry, so maybe not that good of a camera. Anyway, so it kind of looked like Tatooine, like with the ships and stuff and buildings. So there's ships and buildings and who knows what on this planet. It kind of looked like Tatooine. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one. As to what it could be in the movie, I don't know. From an aerial shot, I don't like to judge too much because it's this kind of stuff. I mean, be it a helicopter or a drone circling above, it's this kind of stuff. Which led George Lucas to which was one reason George Lucas made so much of the prequels only on green screen to avoid leaks.
In a studio.
In a studio, no environment whatsoever, just to avoid leaks. Mm-hmm. So just let the filmmakers do their filming. That came to mind.
Yeah.
But as to also on that note, I guess I'll add one more thing, which is Disney and Lucasfilm have so much money. If it is, drones or planes circling overhead, could you get some gun turrets out there, some World War II surplus stuff, and just try to get some air defense up there?
It's funny because this actually it's filming out there in the Canary Islands area out there. So I don't know what their laws are about that, but I know for a fact there's a company that's training hawks to take down drones.
Ooh. Yes, actually.
So Disney could probably pull that off. That way, it's you're not hurting the environment with firepower, but you're using nature to take care of the problem.
Using nature. I recently saw
I like this.
Yeah.
Anti-drone technology. They have a net gun. They actually have a gun that is kind of looks like a camera.
Yeah.
That hijacks your drone.
Oh.
They override your commands and they fly off with it.
That's
so
harsh.
it's kind of oh yeah, so all that money and stuff that you just watch your drone fly away.
Oh no.
Personally, I would love to have if I owned a drone being taken out by one of those owl eagles, 'cause that would just be cool.
The Eurasian eagle owl or whatever they're called.
Keep hawking alive, keep this ancient art alive, but just to watch your own drone get hijacked and fly away.
That would be impressive.
I don't know if this is a security, issue for drones, filming over the site, or it could be something they were just. Got to remember, drones are so cheap now that you could send it out and check
from your cell phone, even.
Check to see if that's a location that's going to look like it would fit your needs.
Yeah.
So that could be something of that nature.
So let's speculate. What if it is Tatooine? Why aren't we back in Tanzania?
Everybody has to go back to Tatooine.
Huh? Well,
that was Tanzania, wasn't it? That's where they filmed.
No, I believe it was Tunisia where they filmed the original one.
Something with a T. Correct me. Please correct me. I know Star Wars.
Tunisia.
It's Tunisia?
Tunisia.
Okay. I added a Z just for flavor.
Yeah.
Anyway, if it is Tatooine, why aren't we back there?
It could be budgetary reasons. I know that Tunisia was part of the Arab Spring not too long ago, so government there might not be too stable. So don't risk it. But also, a lot of movies have been filmed in Australia lately. I feel like, and they might have good tax incentives over there. So
maybe
my first guess, just because I can't help but think logically, not story wise, but it's probably financial reasons why.
Maybe so.
Now, as to story points, as to why they're filming in a desert environment, or why we could be going back to Tatooine. Maybe they want to recreate that cantina. People are making actual bars based on it.
Yeah, I mean, look what Disney's and they're doing just in their parks alone. They're making like a 1-to-1 replica of the cantina.
Sure. My first thought, if it is Tatooine, it's the huts.
Yeah.
His relationship with the Hutts, because they're the smuggler lords. He's a smuggler. Where does a smuggler go for employment?
He goes to the crime bosses.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if it is Tatooine, my first thought is, a young man climbing up the ladder of smugglerhood. I don't know. He's got to find sponsors. He's got to find his first gig.
And he's got to find that way to screw over Jabba the Hutt.
Exactly.
So, it's a good story point, but I don't think it actually is Tatooine. I think it's just another planet. I'm probably wrong, but
once again, you notice the abundance of desert planets in this galaxy.
I mentioned that a couple weeks ago. There's a massive amount of desert planets in Star Wars. We'll discuss it last week because it's usually probably cheaper to make and cheaper to produce, and it's abundant on this planet. So you don't have to create something special and exotic looking. You just go out and find some sand and go, oh, it's a desert planet.
I mean, Doctor Who and Star Trek owe so much to deserts.
That Doctor Who owes a lot to the continental England or the island of England. So they just filmed there mostly.
Yeah, but just you remember the old Star Trek, the original series.
Quarries, yeah, they went to a lot of quarries.
A lot of quarries and a lot of New Mexican desert or Californian desert.
Yeah.
Why do all foreign planets look like the Californian desert?
As a Twilight Zone fan, I'd also want to give a shout out to Death Valley. So many great Twilight Zone episodes were filmed there, and
it's a harsh environment.
Yeah, harsh environment, and they'd use it for just rough planets or like asteroids. This is 1959, so this is what we imagined other planets would look like.
Yeah,
Death Valley.
You could probably also use the salt flats as well.
Ooh, yeah.
I think they have in some of the episodes.
Probably. At least in Star Trek and Doctor Who. Yeah. I know they did in Doctor Who, at least in Utah anyway. So,
nice.
Well,
all right, let's move on to the next story. Are y'all familiar with Kylo Ren?
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with Kylo Ren's spaceship?
No, but
is it named Mascara?
It could be. It very well could be. So, again, this is another spoiler leaky thing. Emo one. I like it.
Nice.
That's good. So we got a little glimpse of what Kylo Ren's ship is going to look like, or potentially look like. It kind of looks like Darth Vader's curved wing TIE fighter. It was the first time we saw a curved wing TIE fighter when Darth Vader had his. And this one kind of has that feel to it, as well as a TIE striker. It kind of has I think I have one up here.
Yeah.
Right here.
There you go.
So it kind of looks like this, only full paneled all the way around. And that's pretty much what it looks like.
Now,
it'll have wings like a TIE fighter. Instead of flat like this, they'll be curved.
Kind of
and it'll have two of them as
cross between old grandpa's ship.
Correct.
And
and it'll still have the same sort of round cockpit that we're used to seeing in TIE fighters.
Now, what was the specialty of
the TIE striker?
Yeah,
this is an in-atmosphere aircraft, so it does not go out past the atmosphere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like the snow speeders on Hoth. They're in-atmosphere speeders.
Okay,
yeah. Same idea, just different.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we get to see Kylo Ren's TIE fighter. I forget what the name is. Now we've never seen him fly thus far, so we don't know if he's a good pilot. However, Anakin was a good pilot. Luke was a good pilot. What do you guys think on Kylo Ren being a good pilot?
I like the idea. I'm still of the mind that Poe Dameron might get to fly the Falcon in the next movie. Something just tells me that might happen, and I'd love to see an aerial battle between Poe Dameron on the Falcon and Kylo Ren in his vehicle. Because one of my favorite scenes in Force Awakens was Poe Dameron blowing up all those ships in the battle around Maz Kanata's place. And I would also add that as far as the design for Kylo Ren's vehicle goes, that it looks a lot like Vader's TIE fighter. I also think there's a hint of Darth Maul's vehicle in that one as well, because it was
almost an old school Jedi fighter. Elongated.
It was much more elongated and had a similar wing pattern. So I got a classic Sith vibe from that one as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Well, Kylo Ren is one of my favorite characters. The fact that
can you say favorite one more time?
Favorite characters. For me, I don't know. I know I'm always the harsh one, but actually I do like Kylo Ren. But the thing is, I kind of see a lot of his hearkening back as someone who wants to be the cool kid.
Yeah,
wants to be accepted as a cool kid. Sorry.
He should have just stuck with the name Matt. It worked out so much better for him.
Yeah, and the thing is, it would have been, the cool kid who looks at, Easy Rider magazines thinking one day I will have a Harley and thus I will be accepted by all the other cool cultures.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so I always get that kind of vibe, you know. It's like I'm wearing black. Why? Because Granddad wore black. You know, it worked for him.
Yeah, I'm wearing a helmet because he wore a helmet.
Yeah. So I kind of get the feeling of it's the kid that begs his dad for a really nice car so he will be cool at high school.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Like he hasn't quite found his place either as a Sith or as an emo high school kid. Like he's like battling between the two.
But you gotta love the title Emo 1.
I like it.
Emo 1.
You heard it here first, folks. Emo 1.
Yeah.
I think Kylo's actually going to be, you know, I hope he's going to be a good pilot because I love space battles. So in Star Wars, we especially in the original trilogy, we got a lot of space battles. We didn't get a whole lot in The Force Awakens. We got a little bit right when Poe came in on Maz's castle, and then when the Starkiller base, and that was kind of the
French Battle 3.0.
Exactly. So they had very limited runs for those space battles, but the Episode 8 trailer looks like there's going to be a massive space battle, kind of similar to what Rogue One did. Brought in the Hammerhead Corvette and the multiple Star Destroyers.
I love
So
that.
badass.
That was such a good scene. I'm hoping Kylo Ren, as much as I love the rebellion or the resistance, I hope Kylo Ren just jumps in his TIE fighter and just like starts wiping fools out, channeling like what Darth Vader did or what or even Anakin as a because I think Anakin was a better pilot than Darth Vader was because he had more chances to fly as a Jedi.
Except if you go back
Luke.
to Clone Wars.
I'm talking Anakin.
Oh, okay. Man, is it?
I thought.
okay.
Yeah,
Right.
before Anakin turned to Vader.
Before he turned to Vader, okay.
I think Anakin was a superior pilot than, maybe because of the suit. I don't know.
Although I would point out that something that Soka always pointed out: how come every craft you fly crashes?
Well, that's a sign of a good pilot.
Yeah, you walked away.
You walked but did you die?
Actually, since
because he flew half a ship. Remember that he flew half a ship.
If we use the theory of the Force giving you like a little more insight to movements of things around you spatially, you know, just cosmically. That's what made Luke a good pilot. That's what made Anakin an excellent pilot. So
Absolutely.
As powerful as Kylo Ren is, and he is powerful. I mean, I make fun of him a lot, but the man stopped a blaster bolt.
He's got some force powers.
He's got something in his camp. I don't know what it is.
The only thing that Vader, the only thing I could one up that was what Vader did. He just stopped it in his hand. He's like, nope.
Oh,
done.
yeah.
So
Didn't damage the suit or anything.
No, he just deflected it right off, and then he did the same thing in Rogue One. He put his hands out, just deflected.
Out of here. Out of here.
He's like, no, I'm not even gonna stop it and impress you. I'm just gonna flick it away like a fly.
So if he could
please.
If he has the reflexes that he could do that mentally and physically. You know, a combat pilot has amazing reflexes.
Yeah.
Race car drivers, amazing reflexes. Stands to reason he's going to get out there, and he's going to be a force really to be reckoned with.
No, I agree. I think that's that I hope to see that. I hope we see like an aerial battle, maybe not in Episode 8, maybe in Episode 9, between Poe Dameron and Kylo. Like maybe even in the Falcon. You want to see Poe in an X-wing because that's kind of his staple ship, right?
Yeah.
But you want to see the Falcon kick ass too.
Yeah.
So you know you want to see kind of both.
I was gonna say yeah.
Maybe in a squadron together. You know that'd be kind of fun.
I mean, if Kylo Ren has his own like squadron, you know, he'd be a squadron leader. He's in command. So
I mean, Vader did the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
He'd have his wingmen.
Yeah.
I'd say, you know, Kylo Ren versus the Millennium Falcon with his wingmen. You know.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely correct.
But your line about you know all the ships crashing around him, it did remind me of my second favorite line from the original Red Dawn, where they meet Powers Booth for the first time, and they say, "How'd you get shot down, Colonel?" It was 5-1. I got 4.
That's a very good point. You know,
it was 5-1. I got 4.
Yeah.
You can only do so much.
Yeah.
We just died awkwardly in that conversation. So we'll move on to the next story. I hope everybody out there, including this panel, has their Jedi/Sith decoder rings on and ready to go to decrypt some names, because we got them. Recently had just come out, I think from GameStop. They actually, probably someone who just got fired from GameStop, released a photo of upcoming Black Figure merchandise with some coded names on them. Some of those coded names, I believe, are going to be, so they have Foxtrot, Victor, and Cool Beta are some of the coded names. Of course, they'll have other figurines, Darth Vader, Qui-Gon Jinn, and so on. But they have 3 big ones that have 3 code names. Who are they, and when can we buy them? Thoughts?
I'll go first.
Right.
My first gut instinct is it's a merchandising grab, and
oh yes, it's obviously a merchandising grab.
Yeah, but I know I'm terribly cynical. But the thing is, it's going to be the Spinal Tap comet, but this one's black.
Well, no, these are the black series, so they're a little bit more detailed than your average action figure, and they have like a huge line of them right now. So
they did,
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that, as I said, I'm trying not to be as cynical. It's something that will appeal to the super geek. Mm-hmm. And it'd be something that will be, on your shelf, like a place of pride, something that you want to have to show off the level of detail. I mean, I'm not really a collector, but the things I do collect,
you want the nicest stuff.
I want the nicest thing.
Yeah, that's sort of my thought on it too. Any thoughts on these?
I don't really have anything here. I agree with Sean. I'm hoping that there are nice details so that people want to buy them. And I've seen this one before, and really great as far as figures go. Speaking as a collector of not Star Wars things, more Batman type things. Yeah. The one problem I always have is I love getting the statues because you can just put them on your shelf and admire them.
But you can't pose them.
I know. See, that's my inherent problem, and I'd be people can call me a terrible person for this. I have a hard time leaving stuff in the box. Like, I want to free them.
You notice none of my stuff except for my pop figures are in a box?
Well, the pop figures, you can leave those in a box and admire them. But a figure like this, I know, but a figure like that should breathe.
But it's also the fact of what's your motivation of collecting them? Is it for your own enjoyment? Take it out of the box. If you're trying to make a buck on it,
leave it in the box. Yeah. Since no one else has any speculation, I'm going to speculate the heck out of this.
Do it.
So I'm going to say Foxtrot is probably going to be maybe Luke. Maybe, or that or Cool Beta. One of those is Luke. However, I have a 99% accurate theory that Victor is Snoke. Because there's one of the things that from the list says Victor and Victor with throne. The only person we've seen in the throne is Snoke.
Good call.
How interesting would that be? We get
very good call.
If they come out with a Snoke figure before we see Snoke in the movie.
I guess my rebuttal would be that they have in the same story I mentioned of Darth Vader and Qui-Gon. So if time is no constraint,
there's never
then
restraint.
It could be the Emperor.
It could be the Emperor. It's very true, but I think the Emperor, because he's not such a plot point in thus far, and he has toys already out.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna go with good old Snoke, the mysterious Snoke. But that's just me and my thinking on it.
No, I think it's valid. I mean, after all, we see him like sitting in some kind of throne.
Oh yeah, and I really hope he's not like 17 feet tall or whatever. But
just awkward,
tiny and small in a little aircraft. That's what we discussed. Yeah. That's what it's gonna be. Snoke is gonna be this big in an aircraft.
Where there is Snoke, there is fire.
Ha!
I hate myself sometimes.
Let's just move it on then. So, we have a Star Wars book club. No, we don't, but we have lots of Star Wars books around, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there. Yeah, a lot of you guys out there read books. I read books, mostly Star Wars books, but I've known to read non-Star Wars books too. However, we are getting another new Star Wars book. I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We're getting a Luke Skywalker book. It's basically the tales of Luke Skywalker. It's actually being called Star Wars: The Last Jedi: Legends of Luke Skywalker. Now, these are all like secondhand stories, third-party stories, and rumors and myths about Luke Skywalker from the time he left the moon of Endor to where we see him on Skellig Michael Island. So, like 40 years of stories and secondhand stories and rumors. What do you think is in there?
Oh, good grief. I mean, 40 years, which is a treasure trove of time.
Yeah.
Especially when you have someone who's newly realized, newly minted, if you like, fully secure in their power.
Oh, yeah.
He turned away from the dark side. He stood up to the Emperor. He, quote unquote, redeemed his dad. Can't walk back that child killed him. Sorry, just can't let it go.
Nope.
So when he leaves Endor, this is the Jedi in his prime.
Yeah.
He's an experienced person. For me, it would be like, dude, what do you do? It's like there's no Disneyland in that universe that I know of.
All he can do is meditate.
Yeah. You normally ask someone, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do? I'm going to Disneyland. I'm
going to Skellig Michael Island. And do what?
So
Look at the birdies.
I just love the concept. We all know in the storyline now that he went on a quest to visit try to find the origins of things.
Of Jedi, yeah.
So all the stories that are going to be in between, like I said, to me, it's a treasure trove. It's all these fantastic, if it's going to be canon, then it'd be these are really great.
Well, they're going to be stories. So the stories are going to be canon, but only because they're canon because they're stories. There's stories and rumors about something. Rumors aren't always true, so some of the rumors aren't true, but it's the myth and the legend.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like King Arthur. Some of the King Arthur books that are out there are myths and legends, but you look at the actual, like, trying to find the actual, history on it, you're like, none of that stuff is this.
Yeah, none of that's in there.
Yeah. So it's same kind of concept.
Yeah.
But a book within the universe that is canon. So kind of cool to think about.
Yeah. No, I like this idea. I wish I went back a little farther, because I would like to hear what Luke did in the interim between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
I think they have a plan for that.
Okay, good, because that always bugged me about the original trilogy.
The time jumps?
Well, we see Luke at the end of Empire. He's got his hand cut off. He hasn't completed his Jedi training, and then he shows up at the beginning of Return of the Jedi at Jabba's palace,
Force-choking fools.
Oh, yeah, Force-choking fools, and claiming to be a full-on Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
So
I'm a Jedi Knight, just like my father.
Yeah. So I'd like to see where he got that extra pick-me-up, because they weren't entirely clear on if he went back to finish his training with Yoda, or if when we see him revisit Dagobah in Jedi, it's the first time he's been back there since Empire. So I would like that cleared up. But I agree, this is a really great idea. I like how, like I say, the stories are in canon, but they're not entirely accurate. They're legends. They're myths.
I bet they're going to bring back some of the legend stuff, the book legend stuff, and tie it into these. Stuff that, not quite fan favorites, but really good ideas that are in novels. But they don't want to make them full-on canon, so you add them into a Legends book in the canon world, which I think is a good idea.
That's the inherent problem I have with canon and people saying, no, there's one timeline, it doesn't deviate from anywhere, because these are characters you like to have fun with. And so...
And that's the old Legends did. They had, like, billion different authors, billion different timelines, and when Disney took it over, they just said, nope, we're having one. And they had to, though. They had too much going on. Like, it was so hard to tell what was going on and when, where, why, and how. Like, in one story, you had Luke doing this, and another time, at the exact same time in his life, he was completely off doing this one other thing, and none of it matched. So,
there's no problem with cleaning house, just as long as you allow people to exercise their imagination a lot more.
And they always say, just because it's not canon doesn't mean you're not going to enjoy reading it.
There you go.
Fair enough.
And for super Star Wars nerds like myself who never read any of it, I'm probably not going to read it, because I'm only going to focus on what's coming out now. Because if I read too much, I'm going to mix it all together in my head.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm already having enough problems as it is. From last show, I couldn't remember what was in what book, and I was like, and I'm right in the middle. I just started another one, Rebel Rising, the story of Jyn Erso.
Oh, cool.
So it's all running together in my head. It's all becoming one giant Star Wars jumbled mess that when I talk about it, I'm like, I think that happened. Well, did I dream that? I have no idea.
It's like at the end of the day, you should just get a nice yoga mat in here and just meditate and collect your thoughts.
Oh, not in here. Oh, God, no. No, I get
somewhere private,
Yeah, I have to get somewhere,
be like,
more. I have too much stuff on my walls, and I got other junk over here I could play with. So,
well, you got to just shut your eyes and clear your mind.
He's trying to help you to become a Jedi here,
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. We're working on it.
Okay,
we're working on it. Well, I think we got one last story. It's actually a week old now. We didn't cover it last week because it was just ran out of time and stuff, and it was Revenge of the Fifth. I really wanted to get to that because it was a cool day to do it. But last week, Mark Hamill surprised some guests on for a Force for Change promo they were doing, where the guests came out and they were told to reenact their favorite Luke Skywalker moment. And some of them said that Rogue One was their favorite movie, and behind the scenes, you see Mark Hamill going, "Well, I'm done here."
Yeah, I don't need to be here. Yeah,
and but people acted out these iconic scenes with Luke Skywalker, like where he gets his hand cut off, and some other ones. And as they're performing these acts, Mark Hamill would come out and be right behind him and do the lines with him, and they'd get all shocked and turn around and go, "Oh my God, it's Mark Hamill!" And one of them was the whole Vader line, like "No, I am your father" line, and he actually was wearing the Vader mask, and the other guy was doing the Luke bit. And so when that line came up and Mark Hamill took off his mask, he goes, "No, I am your father." It was perfect. Did you guys see this?
Yes. It's one of the few things that actually made me laugh out loud was especially Mark Hamill coming out, because they have a director who's a perfect plant, because he's going, now you're going to have another actor that you can read the lines against so you can get your timing and feeling down. So I know it's going to be a little awkward, but he's going to be wearing the Vader mask to help you get into character, okay? Yeah. So just run with it. You know, of course, Hamill steps out, and the poor sucker's like, some schlub wearing a cheap Vader mask. This is not that impressive.
Yeah, and there's some of them you could have like a hesitation, like
something's not right.
Something's not right here. And every single one of them had that sheer joy and sheer look of excitement on their face every time. It was just priceless. This only proves to me that he's a guy I want to go to a local bar, not a big bar, maybe like Fado during the day, sit down and just have a beer with. What about your thoughts?
Yeah, God bless Mark Hamill. Love this guy. I have said in the past when talking about it with a friend that if we were to anoint someone as king of the nerds, you can make a good case for a few people, but
Mark Hamill's up there.
I would nominate nominate him for the top spot, king of the nerds. This is a guy who's been like a nerd since the early 70s when he would look up movies from his childhood, like classic sci-fi movies, and like look up the cast names and would just follow them before there was an internet. And I think he's been going to Comic-Con since the 70s.
He was such a nerd in the 70s, right when they were doing Star Wars. Although he fell madly in love with Carrie Fisher, they never took it any farther than friendship. He was so dedicated to Star Wars and to getting the script right and to getting that stuff right that he never deviated from that path. The mark of a true Jedi. Because Carrie Fisher was good looking back in the 70s, all the way up until the end. She was still not bad looking.
Jedi and a gentleman.
Yeah.
Yep, Jedi and a gentleman.
The funny thing is, when I think of Mark Hamill, of course I saw him as Luke Skywalker first.
Yeah, so did I.
But the second movie I saw him in was called Corvette Summer.
That was such an interesting movie.
And
I won't call it terrible, but it wasn't.
I gotta find this one. I haven't seen it.
It's an old one.
It's definitely a 1970s product.
Yes.
Cool.
Very, very much a 1970s ethos. So as a child, I was really confused because I didn't necessarily see Luke Skywalker as my favorite hero, but I knew he was hero with quotations.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of this sleazebag in quotations, and it's like,
these worlds don't mash.
Of course, when I got a little bit older, I figured, as an actor, duh.
Yeah, because you don't, as a kid, you don't see the actor, you see the character, and no matter what their show they're in, no matter where they are, like that is Luke Skywalker,
and that's how kids lock on to things.
Right. Like in my case, like growing up, there was Luke Skywalker. You saw him on the movies, and he was Luke Skywalker. He wasn't Mark Hamill. First time I learned the name Mark Hamill was
until Joker.
Well, yeah, I was
I didn't follow him after Star Wars until he started doing the Joker voice. I was like, that's Mark Hamill.
Yeah, no, I
wasn't he Luke Skywalker?
Yeah.
One day he was in the past.
Yeah, no, I was in daycare and like in the afternoon we watched Batman the Animated Series. I can remember where I was sitting when I first saw a commercial advertising the show, and one day like the credits started to roll and I saw Joker, Mark Hamill, and I'm like, I feel like I know that name from somewhere, and it just kind of latched onto me, and then a while later, I was watching Star Wars, and the credits rolled, and like Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, like the Luke Skywalker is the Joker.
That's what he's been doing all these years.
That's what he's doing on Skeleton Michael Island. He's practicing his Joker voice. Now, how interesting! I know he won't. Well, they can't match those because one's DC, one's Disney. But imagine like if he gets grumpy like Luke, and he starts going off on a tangent like the Joker. You're like, nerd moment.
Nerd moment. As I say, so I always love bringing this up. Where were you when you first saw Star Wars?
It's a movie I just grew up with. I think that probably the first time I ever watched it, I kid you not, would have been like visiting my grandparents for Christmas, and they had a copy of Star Wars on beta.
Wow.
Yeah.
Betamax.
What about you? I think we may have talked about this before, but I don't know if we ever got it on film.
My first introduction to Star Wars that I can remember, I'm probably completely wrong, was at my grandparents' house. They had the gold VHS editions. Ooh. So they weren't they were the first special editions that came out that didn't have any of the extra stuff in it. So they had those, and my grandfather introduced my cousin and I to Star Wars, and of course we were madly in love with it. And so we watched Star Wars, we watched Empire, and we watched Jedi back to back to back every time we were over there. And we were over there like every weekend for like 2.5 years.
You're like, we know where the kids are for 6 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting right there.
Yeah, they could put Star Wars on, and we would sit there and watch them through and through, act out the scenes. I never got to be Luke Skywalker. I was always Han Solo or Vader, which was fine. I like being the hero, but you can't always be the hero. So as Vader goes, I was the badass up until I got thrown down. No, he threw the Emperor down the shaft, but took the helmet off and I was ugly. So everything was great until then. Of course, Vader dies, so my character dies, and so the hero wins, and that's fine until of course the prequels came out, right? So then you realize how much of a badass actually Anakin was, as long as you watch the Clone Wars series,
right?
Anyway, so that was my first introduction to Star Wars. However, I have another big memory, like when I was living in California, they re-released the original trilogy in theaters for the first time since 1977.
Back in 97,
Yeah, I remember that.
So this is what, 1997?
97.
So yeah, I was living in San Diego. They released it. My mom took me out of school like her dad did to her when Star Wars premiered.
Oh.
And we went to go see it, and that was the first time I ever got to experience fandom on any level for anything. There was a line wrapped around the building at the theater in San Diego, and everyone was dressed up as like Luke and Han and Leia. I was like, this is amazing. And then from there, my fandom just sort of like skyrocketed, and it dulled down for a while because I got called Anakin Skywalker a lot because I had this bowl cut when I was a kid, and he had this stupid hair when he was a kid. Anyway, what was your first experience with Star Wars?
And thus I date myself. It was at a drive-in movie theater.
A what? I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I know what it is.
But a drive-in movie theater. Of course, I come from a big family, so my father goes, take the kids to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
This is a bargain.
Pile them in the car for one price.
Yeah, pile them in the car for one price. And so we went to go see, originally, we were there for two movies, and I believe, I would like to say I saw it in 77, but I think it was 78, because there was another movie playing as well.
They did like a double feature?
Yeah, so my father was actually there to see one movie. We were there to see Star Wars.
What was the other movie, though?
I think it was a Smokey and the Bandit movie.
That was in 77. I think they were both released the same year. I think so.
Yeah, so my dad...
Scott Mance, where are you?
Yeah, so he was there to see the Smokey and the Bandit and, ignore the children. We were there, and I got to see Star Wars, and I knew nothing. I went in there as the youngest of the family troop. My older siblings apparently had seen it in the magazines or something. I walked there, didn't even know what the hell we were watching. And I'm sitting there going...
Well, I wish I would have, I knew what Star Wars was growing up, but even before I saw Star Wars, because you saw the merchandising, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when I would love to have seen it in the theater for the very first time in 1977, that first glimpse of a Star Destroyer going across the screen and the scale of that Star Destroyer. How did you think of that?
I was actually just like frozen. I was sitting on the hood of the vehicle.
Oh, okay. So you had the best seat in the house.
Yeah. So I was small enough, being the youngest of the family, that they could look over me. How small I was at the time, and we just sat there staring up at it, and it was just this massive thing. But the irony is, I remember more of the commercials than I did of the original Star Wars. I had to see it again later because I was so young that there's so much distraction going on. But I remember the sheer bombardment of Kenner and merchandising, like every other commercial.
You should look at Facebook now. My God, because they re-released them.
Right, but everything was. I think I remembered more of watching the movie via commercial and other kids reenacting it with the action figures than actually the real movie. Until I was a little bit older and saw it again when it first came out on. Betamax. I think it was Betamax. And you had to get a suitcase. They were built in these suitcases. They look like the baby nuke cases you see in all the movies.
Oh yeah.
They would have the Betamaxes and VCRs built into them.
Okay.
Oh, you can rent them at I Love Video here in Austin, but when VHS is in the early 90s, we didn't have a VHS player in the house because we grew up not rich. And so, in order to rent movies, and if you didn't have a VCR, you could rent a VCR from I Love Video or video stores.
That's how it was done.
And it was in a hard plastic case that you had to take home, but then you had to bring it back. It was like a $5 deposit or something.
That's what I'm saying. It was like this big suitcase.
Yeah.
That protected it.
Why do I remember that?
And you had to plug it in and all that because nobody, when I was growing up,
they're expensive.
Well into the 90s.
Yeah.
Nobody.
They're like $200.
I think my friend Eric, whose father was a doctor, was the first one in the neighborhood to have one.
It's like CD players.
And so, of course, everyone in the neighborhood kind of for some strange reason, drifted over there.
What is this magical device?
To watch all these, very limited selection of movies when they started out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fun.
But that's how I have like these weird, strange memories of seeing it. I remember seeing it at the drive-in and being just frozen, like, what the hell is going on here? Now, my older siblings, they got more of it. They got more of the pathos and the ethos of the storyline. I was just watching it going, dude, just cut another guy's arm off. It's a sword that's not a sword. Why are they wearing white? And why are they blowing up the planet? Okay, you lost me. I don't know what's going on.
It looks cool, but I don't got a clue what's going on.
But I would obsessively watch the commercials that came on for all the
Kenner
toys.
and stuff,
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, they're coming out with like the new Kenner line for the 40th anniversary. They're coming out with like figures that obviously weren't involved in the first and 12 that came out. So now they're coming out with like all these figures that from like the newer series and stuff like that. But they're in the classic Kenner cases or Kenner blister packs.
Okay. Yeah,
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
the thing that catches me for
The only difference is it has a 40th anniversary logo and it actually has a punch card for the hanging on a shelf. The old ones didn't have that.
right because they actually stacked them
On a shelf, there was an art back then.
But what really impresses me about the new toys is that you can now make your own videos and edit them and scan the back to get sound effects and packages like that.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Very, very, very high-tech stuff.
You guys remember like in the right when the prequels came out, they had the figurines with little data chips that you could scan in and make them do things? Did you not remember this?
I didn't know that.
I have a tub of them downstairs. I'll show you.
Well, brief aside, I was cleaning out some stuff lately. I found floppy disks that came with my Independence Day figures back in '96.
Now, are those 3D prints? I'm kidding. I know what a floppy disk is. A 3.5-inch floppy disk. That weren't floppy. They're hard plastic. Yes,
that was high tech stuff for 1996.
that was incredible. Like maximum like 512 megabytes or something like that.
Don't
Maybe
even
not
start.
even that.
Just
probably
don't
1
start.
megabyte max, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I could no. We're talking in another language for all you people who all y'all know this. What am I talking about?
No,
See-
I'm going to go on.
Yeah, it's like see, kids, when I had to install something back then, it came with like 5 floppy disks, and you had to like put one in at a time and said, "Thank you, please eject this one and put the new one in." You had to do that 5 times and to get a very simple, maybe 5 megabyte, 10 megabyte game installed. Yeah, 90s.
We survived it.
I was going to bring up the Commodore 64, which was cassette driven.
That's very true.
We had to swap out cassettes, little magnetic cassettes. So
way off topic.
way off
hey,
topic,
But fun.
But fun nonetheless.
I don't know if I was going to say someone I would want to hang out with. As much as I like Mark Hamill, as much as I like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, it's going to sound really weird. Like I said, I grew up being a Ben Kenobi fan.
So Alec Guinness.
Sir Alec Guinness.
But you had to have a Guinness with Alec Guinness.
Yeah, but honestly, when everything's said and done, as an adult now, as someone who does write and do storyline work and all that, it'd probably be Carrie Fisher. Because of her writing.
Brilliant writer behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a lot of ghostwriters, or what do they call them?
They call them punchers and
Screenplay polishing.
Yeah, they have a particular name.
They're called punchers.
Screen
Doctor?
Doctor, yeah. Script doctors.
Script doctors, and if you're doing dialogue, it's punching.
That's what I was going with. But yeah, she did a lot of work that no one knows about. Like she did a lot of the work for Drop Dead Fred.
Yeah, you're like, what?
You're like, what's Drop Dead Fred? It's an amazing kind of ripoff of Beetlejuice, but it's really good. It has Carrie Fisher in it, and it has Anyway, go see it.
Move it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did a lot of like.
I felt bad because so much of it
doctor.
I didn't know until she died.
Yeah, because you know when you think Carrie Fisher, like, oh yeah, it's that crazy lady, or yeah, that was Princess Lady. You don't give it no thought.
Or the badass from the Blues Brothers.
You stood me up at the altar.
Yes, okay, she had some great films, but you don't really think that she was a writer or anything like that. You just thought she was just an actress like anybody, any other actress. But no, she was a really gifted writer in her writing style and because she put so much of her personality in her writing that you're just like, this is amazing.
Such as I read Postcards from the Edge.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
And I'm like, it's one of those things like Princess Leia wrote. And it's very hard to divorce, especially if you're very young and you get embedded with a character. It's hard for you to separate them. We were just talking about that. This is what the character is, what you embedded is, and so for me, it's like, wow, she was really talented, and I started following some of her work on the side more than anything. So I think, as much as I like Sir Alec Guinness and Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, I think I would rather honestly have a long time talk with Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with Sir Alec Guinness if he were still alive. But the problem with that is that he most likely would not want to talk Star Wars with you. He famously did not like signing autographs at fan events. Alec Guinness.
Oh yeah,
Alec
no,
Guinness,
he did not like wanted to, as soon as he read the script for Star Wars, he was like,
yeah,
nope.
But like definitely a guy you would love to sit down. Like actually, just the other day I was rewatching Dr. Zhivago, which I'm sorry, Star Wars, that would be my favorite Alec Guinness film.
No, he crushed it. It was good. It's
Yeah,
such a good
just
film.
that final scene where he has that line about then it's a gift, and just such a great performance told from his perspective. The whole movie is like his flashback, and he is the narrator. So such a commanding presence. So I would love to have him like sign my vinyl soundtrack to Dr. Zhivago, just to
See, for
complete
me,
that movie for me.
For me, if we're talking what favorite film of the actor group that we're talking about now, in the Star Wars family, we're still in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Would be Bridge Over River Kwai.
Ooh, yeah, damn good film.
That was a really
which
good
he won
film
the
as
Oscar
well.
for.
Yeah. Bridge Over River Kwai. I thought that was his pivotal.
I can't help but think of Top Gear, and that's so wrong. So wrong.
But I thought that was his pivotal role, and he did it so well.
Oh, and the story of the Bridge Over River Kwai, it was based on a true story.
Right. It's pretty
and
screwed up, too.
It is. And the fact that, Alec Guinness gave such a great performance and brought a lot of those characters, like that character back to what you're thinking about, like a war or imprisonments and stuff like that.
He was alive during that time period.
I wouldn't say it tore me up the first time I saw it, but it was damn close. It was close.
And excellent supporting performance by William Holden, one of my favorite Golden Age movie actor. Well, I guess he'd be like post Golden Age, but definitely one of my favorite classic actors. I think Sunset Boulevard is the most perfect movie ever made, or one of them. But going back to Star Wars, I will say that if Mark Hamill is not available to hang out with, I would love just to chill with George Lucas and pick his brain about not just Star Wars, but also the studio system, his constant rebellion against that, and making American graffiti.
If you watch the live stream from this past celebration, George actually kind of goes into it a little bit about the process of making Star Wars and how no one wanted to buy it and make it. And I would love to sit down and just chit chat with him, not only about Star Wars, but his impact on the filmmaking industry, as well as, as in, maybe I'm not an aspiring filmmaker at all. I love doing this. This is what I really like doing. But the process and how a up and coming filmmaker could actually get into the business nowadays, but without having a ton of money, because most filmmakers, especially in like film school or wherever, they have nothing. If not, they have a lot of passion. They have a lot of friends who have stuff, but they don't have money to go rent a studio. They don't have money to go on special effects. So I want to know how he did it, because he didn't have much either. So I would love to have that conversation. Yeah.
No, that'd be a very interesting thing. But as to making movies today, I personally feel that there's much more opportunities to make movies today. The gatekeepers are not as few.
That's true.
Not to say it's not difficult. It's just there are fewer.
Yeah,
fewer gatekeepers.
That's true, but you also have to kind of look at, there's so many aspiring filmmakers, people who want to make that jump into film, that there's so many people biting at that same piece of meat that you're going to get dropped for the next guy or the next girl or the next couple or the next whatever.
Yeah, in the same way, we're like in a weird way, there are still some gatekeepers, but you got more ways to at least show off your resume and show off your skill.
That is true.
Yeah,
that you can do. Like YouTube.
Yeah. But no matter what your feelings are about the latest Fantastic Four movie that came out a couple years ago, it's amazing that a guy like Josh Trank went from making a YouTube video that was Star Wars themed. I think he made some video where stormtroopers break up some college party or something, and it went viral. And he got called into a studio meeting, and then he made Chronicle, and then he got a chance to do Fantastic Four, and that one was very negatively received, and so he's in kind of a lull right now, but is going to be directing something in the near future. So just a guy can go from making a YouTube video to making a major feature film.
Now, the reason why I cite that there's much more opportunities, one of the things there about the Art Institute, we did movie, we do script writing, graphic arts, editing.
I was in a filmmaking class in high school.
The Art Institute, that's actually one of their specialties. Yeah. And the number one thing they say to all your aspiring directors out there and writers is just show up.
That's part of it.
That's literally the hardest thing that the Hollywood types have with any talent is for them to show up.
Yeah.
Just show up when you say you're going to be there. And a lot of the gigs that would have gone to you gets passed over
because you didn't show up.
Yeah. And there were more than one lecturer that came there. It's like, how did you get your start? And I'm talking guys that worked on Dust to Dawn. We had Rodriguez come by from Troublemaker Studios. We had people from LucasArts. We had people from actually MGM come by and talk to us. And the number one rule they said is when they were quizzed is like, when they do the question section is like, what is the number one thing you can pass on? He goes, show up. If you sign the paper, say you're going to be there, be there. Yeah. He goes, blacklist exists, and it's not for political reasons. It's like, this guy is unreliable. You're gone. You get one shot, you're gone.
That's why I'm kind of adamant about putting the show up on Fridays. Nice. That's why the show is called the Force Friday Show. If we missed a Friday, it's got to be because, one, I was at Celebration. That's where I'm going to be sick or dead. And if I'm not here, these two are completely capable of running the show without
Terrifying
me.
As it is.
We are?
Yes,
terrifying
absolutely.
As it is. Oh.
Anyway.
Yes, we can do this.
On that shocking bombshell, remember, folks, this is not always about us. So tell us who you would like to have a beer with, or a drink, or some food with.
Or coffee.
From an actor of the Star Wars universe. It could be the original trilogy, prequels, the upcoming stuff. Who would you like to sit down and have a drink with? Now, with that being said, I believe we're running out of time, but I do want to give one quick shout out to Screen Junkies and their show Millennial Falcon. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's quite hilarious. It has a lot of good comedic timing bits. Very awkward, you know how us millennial. Well, I'm not. We're on the edge of the millennial scale. You and I, we're really floating that edge.
Like we're between Gen X and millennials.
Yeah, exactly. We're floating that edge. But I don't. Anyway, you know how millennials are very awkward and. Anyway, go check it out. It's hilarious. They do a lot of satire stuff of Star Wars. They did a really good bit at Celebration. Go check them out. Go watch their channels. You know their stuff from like the Honest Trailers. They're all great. And I think that will have to wrap up the show. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please, please, please. And we still are giving away this guy, the AT-ACT driver, a Black Series figure, and a 40th anniversary patch, which is over there somewhere. I haven't brought it over because I'm a lazy fool. Again, like, subscribe, share, and comment. My name is James Waddington. Down the very far end, we have...
James Armstrong. And I'm sorry, special shout out to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Very great movie. Did everything a sequel should do. The soundtrack is also worth listening to. This is my driving music right now. I am a diehard Batman and DC fan, but I like to compliment our...
You have a compact disc? I
have a compact disc. How yeah. Compact disc, man. My car can't play anything else. But shout out to our Disney-fied competition over at Marvel. As a DC and Batman fan, I always like...
It all blend together.
Yeah, I always like tipping my hat to the guys when they do something good.
Absolutely. How about you, Sean?
I would recommend you check out the Facebook page. I'm going to be hopefully doing more movie reviews and hopefully put some of these writing talents to use. Don't worry, I don't use grammar check. I speak American Standard. So with that, that's what I have.
All right, and you can find me working on some new film projects. Probably I'm doing a couple 10-second shorts for Colliders to win a poster.
Nice.
Because I want to. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.